Welcome back to the DJ Sessions, where we feature the best industry professionals from around the world. I'm your host, Darren, and right now I'm sitting in the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington, and coming in all the way from Delaware, I have Antionette Blake. How you doing today, Antionette?
I am well, Darren. How are you?
We're doing great. You know, the wonderful world of podcasting and online media has grown in huge numbers over the last few years, which is always awesome to see something when you've been doing it for, 17 years that people now understand what it's about and using it as a medium, and especially that and live streaming. And you are, how do I put this? Would there be, there's so many things you do. I'm trying to figure out like a 2-word or 3-word title for what you do. Can you tell our viewers what it is exactly what you do?
Sure, Darren. Thank you first and foremost for inviting me onto your show. I'm so super excited because I've been following and listening, and you reached out to me, and I'm like, okay, I got to do this. So again, I'm Antionette Blake. Most people know me as the DE Diva, aka the Delaware Blogger, but I'm a multi-award-winning vlogger, podcast host, educator, professional speaker, and business owner, social media marketing and management, A. Blake Enterprises. And I work with entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and what I like to call side hustlers to ensure that not only are they on the right platform, but they are doing it in what I consider an H to H manner, heart to heart, because people don't go to social media to be sold to. They go to socialize, and you want to be able to connect with them because, the emotions and how people buy. So I work with them, not only, creating content and curating content, but, it's just the whole thing of social media because it changes literally overnight. And because my target market audience are boomers and beyond, which is what I am, this is new for them. They're used to traditional marketing, right? Traditional advertisement on radio, newspaper, magazines, even flyers on, windshield wipers. And so social media can be a scary place, it could be a spooky place. And so I work with them and in creating their content and sharing and connecting with their audience.
Absolutely. I don't think you could have summarized it better there, especially for that target demo. You put a phone or a multimedia device in the hands of a 8-year-old, they know what to do with it nowadays. But even like my mom, she didn't even get on Facebook till years, and she didn't want to because her day job was being in front of a computer all day. So in retirement, The last thing she wanted to do is be in front of a computer because that's what she relates it to. Now she's on there all the time, and one of the sweetest things is I'll post something that's a post from a long time ago. It says, you posted this 8 years ago. She goes, so what are you doing this today for? And I'm like, Mom, that post was from 8 years ago. She goes, you have to read the things, Mom. So it's sweet. It's endearing. And I told her for years, this was one way she could really stay in touch with me and know what I was doing every day, what was going on. Cause it was like kind of an online diary. And I love this too, because it's not just for personal use, it's for business use. And I'm going to quote something off your website. It's actually right at the top of your website. And hits me so hard. Successful social media marketing is a numbers game. However, it's more than just getting likes and shares. It's about being social and creating a community of engaged audience members. And one of the biggest things that I tell so many up and coming artists that in this day and age, it wasn't back in the day, it was who you know. Nowadays, if I'm going to go book somebody for a show, if I'm going to book them for a concert, I'm going to take a look at their socials first and see how they're engaging and seeing what they're doing. And that's become such a huge component out there. And, it kind of was wild, wild west at first. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like you came in with a business model to kind of help educate people about that and how to go about doing that. Tell us about that side of your business.
Sure. Now that's the branding. That is a brand. And like you said, this was something that's been around for a long time, and we saw it coming. As a matter of fact, the entrepreneurs and the solopreneurs saw it before big business. And I always say your brand is your bond and your bond is your brand. And it used to be where you could separate your personal from your professional, but that's no longer the case. And like your mother, I was 32 years in corporate America with IBM. So I was on computers all day, every day. And the last thing I wanted to do was be on social media. But life changes. And technology changes. And I'm like, this is interesting. So again, yes, you have to make sure that whatever you put out there, it has to be your brand. Again, you wouldn't have me on your show today if you went and searched and did a Google and all this negative things came up. And I wouldn't be on your show either if I said, oh, well, that's some weirdo, I'm not going to get on his show. So your brand, it's your brand. You have to make sure that whatever you're putting out there, whether it's fun stuff or, professional stuff, that it is right and it's tight, because this is a global world. It's no longer just, United States of America. It's not just Delaware. It's not DC, not just Washington. This is global. So people are watching you all around the world, 24/7, 365. So when you are posting and sharing and connecting and engaging, do it from the heart. Of course, you want to promote your business or your product or your service. But remember, we're all human. So think about how it's going to be accepted, how it's going to be perceived. And that's the difficult part. That's the real difficult part, which is why I like to work with clients that have no idea. It was like the Wild Wild West. What came up, came out. And you can't do that. And I love talking to parents and college students saying, listen, what you put out there today is going to be reflective of what a college coach may see, that a recruiter may see. People are going to see this. So be very careful. And since the pandemic, people just lost their ever-loving social media minds. And they're just putting all kinds of stuff out there. And it's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I have 2 sons. I would never embarrass them I have a TikTok account because it's business. But you'll never see me doing TikTok dance. And no offense to people that are doing TikTok dance. But Darren, I'm 60 years old. I'm not going to be rump shaking, okay?
I know what you mean. I recently just dived into the world of TikTok and we're navigating the waters. And I put up what I call my cooking videos because I'm a foodie. But it's under I love foodies. Yeah, it's under my DJ Sessions brand though, because I just like music and food. And so what I've done to get in there is kind of make some funny videos of my cooking that I make. And I actually make them for me just to learn how to play with the platform. That's usually I kind of see a lot of weird behind the scenes stuff before I go head in. And now we're going head in to TikTok by taking snippets of interviews and be able to put those on there and hashtag them. And I understand how the platforms work, and TikTok's a huge one. But yeah, you probably, I might do a couple booty shakes. Well, Darren, you do it. I won't watch it, and I won't do it. And the thing is, and I don't know where you are in your life cycle, but if you have children, remember, this is the legacy that you're leaving. And as a blogger, I actually started my social media career as a blogger. I'm still a blogger. I started blogging in 2012. So I was a foodie and I did fashion and fun after 50. So I did showcase, and I was literally kind of afraid to be in front of the camera. Now you give me a camera and I'm like, what? But back then I wasn't comfortable. But now, again, I'm very cognizant of what I put out there because of my sons, because of the legacy that I'm going to leave. Yeah. And that is something that people don't understand. Once you put it out on the internet, it kind of is there forever, especially if there's controversy and somebody takes that and shares it and then it's on their platform. And you can't say, can you please remove that from your platform? It's there. There. I've been in my fair share of how you could say what we used to call flame wars back in the days. I was never in the bulletin board system or the forums before social media, but on social media, you get in those kind of keyboard warrior moments and you're trying to defend and things blow up and you're like, okay, I've had a few of those over the past, few years where I've been very vocal about being nice to people and people saying that they're nice to people and then having proof that they aren't nice to people. And I'm like, I can't have you as part of my community or what I want to promote because of what you do online to people. And everyone knows it. And I'm going to call it out because you need to stop doing that and saying you're one thing and saying you're not. And some little bitty hot water.
And it's tough because social media is not for the faint of heart. Let's let because again, you can be on social media and you're congratulating someone and they're happy, they're having a birthday, a celebration, an anniversary. And then the next post, somebody died. There was a mass shooting, over it. And so your emotions are up and down all day long. And as humans, we're not built for that. We're built for fight or flight, right? So now you've got all this other stuff going on. Do I fight? Do I flight? Do I fight? Do I fight? And that's just not healthy at all. Yeah. So it can, you got to manage your social media time, and do other things, get out and walk, breathe some fresh air, watch the birds.
I think that was the one thing. And I'll tell you, like a little vindication for myself that happened. I'm a person I don't believe I have an addiction to social media, but I'm the person that I'm on Facebook and on other platforms, but Facebook mainly, or was for years, from 8:30 in the morning till midnight every day. If I wasn't in my computer, because I'm on my computer, I can take that break. Where a lot of other people, they were at work and they might get those 15-minute breaks, or they might get that phone check where they could do it. I mean, I was there. I'd log in. I'd say, because of the way the wall had gone. Right. And of course, the changes they made to the algorithm with the Facebook and everything, with most recent and top stories, changed that a little bit. But one of the things that I tried explaining to so many people is I saw everything that was going on. This is when I had 4,996 friends on Facebook. I was maxed out, hundreds of followers, and I would see things and trends with people's posting that the normal person wouldn't see if they were friends with that person. And it wasn't until 2 years ago that people, when they weren't going out and doing so many activities, they were online and they got that mass consumption of online data. And they started putting the pieces together and seeing online behaviors happen that they never saw before. And then they'd be in the group and see them doing it in the group and see them do it over here. And they go, Darren, you were right about this person. You were right to call. They are, whoa, I never would have known, because all I ever saw was their happy post. Their happy post. You never saw when they were attacking and trolling and berating and gang mentality. And I mean, my biggest one that I love to have now are the hate followers.
Ooh.
Have you heard that term yet?
Darren, the thing is, I believe that what you put out, you get back. Mm-hmm. Point blank, period. And so funny, because I'm going to tell you a quick story. Because of the Facebook algorithms, and there's really no one on Facebook, or there's no help desk. So it's just like bots. My blog, delblogger.com, the URL got hacked back in October. It was redirected to a Viagra site. So and I didn't realize it until one of my followers said, "Hey, Antoinette, have you Googled yourself lately?" So I went to Google, I put in Del Blogger, it came up, but then it had a caption about Viagra. And I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody, hacked my URL. So I went to my hosting company and I explained to them what happened. They said, okay, we could do this. We can do that. We can clean it up. It's going to take this many weeks and then you'll be fine. And I'm like, okay, so because I'm good, right? So people that know me, they don't think I'm selling Viagra. Why would I sell Viagra, right? So everything's cleaned up. Everything is good in Google, but there's no cleanup in Facebook. I have been in Facebook jail like 8 times for months on end, because anytime I use the URL Del Blogger, it was flagged as sexual and explicit nature. And there's no way. I've sent emails, group chat. I mean, there's nobody that can clean it up. And I literally had to delete my Del Blogger Facebook page. So I lost like 5,000 followers there. Anytime that I promote on social media on Facebook, I can't use Del Blogger. I'm just using my business account. I'm not even using my personal account because I'll get flagged. And just the other day, I mean, I've been out of jail for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. No, actually about 2 months, right? The other day, I got another violation from a picture that I posted in 2017 with me promoting Del Blogger. And then I said, no, you look at it and they're like, okay, we got it wrong. But I'm walking on eggshells now.
I've heard that of people getting flagged for posts from 8, 9, 10 years ago. They're like, well, what's this coming? Where's this coming at me from? And that's so old and so gone. If you look at how many posts and how active I've been, and I get it. That's the crazy thing about social media. Luckily, I've only experienced one ban. And
you're lucky.
Just recent, yeah. But I see people just like, if somebody posted, oh, that's so dumb, or you're dumb. And then they're getting banned for it. And it's like, and these are friends of friends, like they're best friends.
Right.
And it's like, that's dumb. And it's like, wait, you can't have that language.
Right. Because you use the word.
Wait a second here. You know, this is an interesting thing that happens, you know, but you got to look at from their end that all the content that's getting generated. You know, I was in a marketing class, a social media marketing class in college a few years back. And the teacher was explaining that YouTube gets 1 million videos a minute. It might even be more nowadays.
Wow,
that time it was 1 million videos a minute being uploaded. They can't scan that content for everything that's going up there. And, you know, they rely on the users like, this is bad, take this down, and having their team go ahead and look at it. But the ability to create a YouTube account I can make 85 email addresses and make 85 YouTube accounts in flat. You know, it'd be interesting if Facebook were to go to a more secure model where I said, okay, this account is a verified account. How do we verify these accounts?
Right. I've been there since, you know, and there's nothing, if you scan, you will see this is a 60-year-old woman who's posting about food and fashion and fun and podcasts. Nothing ever. I've got one of my potato recipes. Like I posted about Parmesan potatoes and it got flagged because it had the Dell Blogger URL attached. That's what it was. So they've never cleaned it up. They haven't gone back and scanned it. And you would think, you know, it's been since October, November, December. I mean, when is this ever going to end?
Yeah. Well, you know, that comes in. Oh, go ahead.
But what I tell people, again, let's go back to what you said about a numbers game. I also tell people never, ever, ever, never build your business, your brand on these free platforms, because if they're taken away, if something happens, you're gone. So have that website, have that blog, have that podcast, have that YouTube channel, or have that brick and mortar. Facebook is fun until someone gets hurt.
You couldn't have said that better. It's one of the key things that when we hit what I call the bigger time, we've been doing our show for a number of years, but when we got made a featured partner with Twitch in 2018, and we got put to the front page of Twitch, and it was like, wait a second, we're at almost 3,000 viewers watching us. The chat room is going crazy. We had zero website. I wasn't expecting it. I thought it was going to be wasn't paying attention to how big that platform was because we were using UStream at the time. And I sat back and said, okay, we got to rebrand. But I knew the trick. You got to make sure you own your own properties, because you're right. At if I got 3 flags on Twitch and I built up and had thousands of followers, or a Facebook page, all of a sudden they're like, boop. As a matter of fact, one of my Facebook pages did get shut down. Won't let me post content anymore. And I don't know why. I've talked to him and said, what did I do wrong here? This has been a brand. This is my brand. I own this. It's a stateside. And I think maybe one of the big conglomerates came in and said, shut it down.
Yep.
And the thousands of people on it. So you're right. It's nice to have them as accessories, but if you're really going to do it, put your content on your site and share your content from your site to those places.
That is correct. You use those as vehicles to drive people to your site. Yep. So now, Darren, what I do is when I do a new podcast or a new blog post, I just say it's there. And if people should know by now. If they don't know, then they can go and look in my bio. But I'm not putting that URL out there anymore because I don't like the games that they're playing.
Well, and you got to think too, is if you're following closely with what's going on with Elon and the purchase of Twitter, and Twitter's saying, oh, only 5% of our accounts are maybe fake. And Elon's like, no, I'm thinking more like 25% of your accounts are fake. And I remember when right before Facebook went public, this is so interesting. I was dwindling down my followers, the people that are following me on Facebook, on my personal account. And I think I got it down to like 2,200. I think it was like 3,800. I dwindled it down to about 2,200. Then all of a sudden overnight, I was back up to 3,700. And I'm like, what happened here? I just got rid of all these people. And I was letting people take themselves off. I wasn't adding any new friends. And so you got to think, how many fake accounts are there? And should there be even if it's not Instagram has the verified account.
Yes.
Why can't we do that with Facebook and make it verified? And it's like, okay, you're verified, start as a clean slate. Here you go, and have a customer service team that makes sure your link is an okay link. It's a verified.
I truly believe that it just got so big so quick, because again, Facebook wasn't where people went. I mean, I didn't, back in the day, I didn't do MySpace or any of the other ones, but someone said, try Facebook. And I was like, what's Facebook? Actually it was called the Facebook. And I get teased about that. Like, you're old lady. I'm like, no, somebody used to say the Facebook, right? But it happened so quickly because even business owners didn't see the value of Facebook, right? The bigger brands didn't see. They just thought this was some stupid little platform where people were just posting stupid little things and it wasn't going to be anything. And then all of a sudden, entrepreneurship, solopreneurship, branding, influencer marketing it went from mommies and diapers and stuff to, I was an influencer. I got flown to California. I was on Rodeo Drive. I mean, it just started to explode. And then these companies were looking at your following on Facebook. So of course you had to ramp everything up. And all of a sudden the train left the station and boom, and they couldn't keep up with it.
Well, I wonder if that is indicative of, I remember I had a MySpace account. Facebook came out. You couldn't get into Facebook unless you were a college student or worked for a Fortune 500 company. It was a very smart move on their part to get them hooked into this new media platform, get the college kids hooked in. But the biggest thing on MySpace is like, I got 50,000 friends. I got 5,000. I got 100,000 followers, which can be faked in a sense of things. So you could change the code.
Right.
But I didn't know that when I started Facebook. So when I jumped into Facebook into the game in about 2000, I had an account back in 2006, but I jumped really in and around 2009-ish, maybe a little before that. But I was trying to add everyone I knew, add. And I didn't know that Facebook had a limit of 5,000 friends.
It did, right? Remember that? Yep.
Yeah. And I got to the time, and then I heard about that and I said, whoa, I better stop this because it wasn't just adding. And so for years I had that account built up, and I just found a tool recently. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called L.O.C. or lock. Okay. And it lets you go in and mass delete in bulk.
Oh, I need that. I need to write that down right now.
It's a Google Chrome extension. It's worth every penny. It's $20.
Okay.
It's awesome. There's so much more you can do. And I'm not affiliated with them or
you need to become an affiliate.
But no, I found it.
That's how we built the business with affiliates.
Yeah. One of the coolest things you could do is you could take it and go by engagement. So you could say less than one like, less than one comment, less than one message. Anyone that has less than one, show me them in the list. Then I can go through that list and I go, I don't even know who this person does this. They don't even engage with me. Why are they friends? And that was the one thing of why 5,000. Who has 5,000 friends? Nobody has 5,000 friends.
Look, go back again to what you said. It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
And that's what, I think psychologically, these business think I need this many followers. And it's like, no, you can have 5 followers that buy from you every week. If I always use this analogy, if you have 500 followers and if you had 1 million followers and you ask each of them for $1, you'd be a millionaire. That's not going to happen. You might as well just have 10 good friends that's going to buy a product from you each and every time you launch it or promote it. And don't worry about, 2 and 3 and 4 and 500 followers just because it means squat, not knit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that becomes, but at a young age, there becomes that, Scott has 500 friends online and Jessica has 200 friends online and I got 15 friends online. But the cool thing is they don't understand is that those 15 friends, you're seeing only those 15 friends.
Right.
And you can engage with those 15 people and you can like each one of those things and I like that and stay in better contact with it. So it's almost like, should we pull a reset on this?
I think we should. Remember that commercial they had where the intoxicated woman was at the bus stop late at night, and it was almost like Beth has 5,000 friends on Facebook, but here she was alone, intoxicated at a bus stop, no friends. So, hey, have one good friend, one good bestie, and you be good. You don't need the 500. And, it's almost, that commercial, they should start showing that over and over again.
Yeah. And I think that definitely would, I mean, from a data standpoint, from a Facebook data mining standpoint, because that's what they're doing. I'm sure you've seen the movie, and the line is, if it's free, you are the product.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's what the line is.
Yes.
And so, you're connecting all these different things, and they're sending you these ads. But if you tone it down, say, here's my 30 friends, or here's my 40 friends, or here's my core. And the Facebook started to do that, where you could put close acquaintances, family, friends, and put those tags in there for identifiers. But we could go dive into Facebook and social marketing like that
all night long. You're
all night long.
Me too. It's social media.
One of the things I assume in your courses, you help people decipher that when they get in there, and to understand what they're getting into, what to expect, and how to really safely manage or navigate that road. Is that correct?
Yes. And I do a lot of presentations, social media for small businesses, what they should be looking to do, how to navigate social media, how to understand it, how to, even post the scheduling. Some people are like, oh my God, I got to be on there every day, every minute, every hour, every second. And I'm like, okay, slow down, or they feel like, oh, I've already posted that. You posted that. Yeah, but Coke and Pepsi doesn't care that you've seen that same commercial over and over again. You've seen, and you see it's like every season that commercial comes back. Okay, it's that season again. They're going to bring that commercial back. That's how you do it. It's that repetition, and it's the know, like, and trust. If they know you, they like you, they trust you, then they're going to buy from you. If you're going to be flip-flopping all over the place and be inconsistent with your posts and inconsistent with your messaging, people don't have time for that.
And that's the one thing I've talked with a lot of upcoming, even my own resident DJs that are just starting to, because I used to be that social blogger. Everyone turned to me when Facebook came out, and they're like, Darren, how do I do this on Facebook? Or Darren, what's this going on Facebook? I'm like, you're supposed to just dive into it and learn it. That's how you're going to get it. But, I think one of the biggest things you said, that one of the biggest keywords was consistency, and knowing that you're building a brand and not being all over the place. Like this. On my personal Facebook, yes, I will do. And I have that law. It's not open to the public. If you're in, you're in. You can't see unless I make something.
I'm coming in. I want to come in. Knock, knock.
Yeah. If I'm making a public post, I will switch it to public. Other than that, all my posts are private.
Awesome.
But when it comes to the DJ sessions, all of those are open to the public. Mm-hmm. So I don't, the things that I would post where I said I got in those kind of little turf war things, those are done in private Facebook, but they could be done in public forums too. Got to watch out for that. But when it comes to my brand, I would never take that and post that into my brands,
Right.
So it's just very interesting on having to navigate that. What would you say is what's the best tool that you know of out there for social media?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I love the scheduling tools, and the one that I am in so love with, and it's kind of pricey, it's Promo Republic. And because as an agent, I have to manage multiple pages. So Promo Republic allows me to, manage all my various pages for each client. And they have some of the best, graphics. They have some of the best posts. They keep you up, like, it's Father's Day and it's Mother's Day. I mean, so you can grab and it connects to Canva. I mean, I just love Promo Republic. I started out with the free buffer and the Hootsuite and those, but Promo is I can do it from my phone, on the fly. But the scheduling, that's what's keeping you consistent, right? That is what's keeping you consistent. And I will literally, let me be honest with you, literally on a Sunday night, sit down nonstop for 5 to 6 hours, creating content, moving content around, seeing the times that it was active and not active. So this is a business. I mean, this is not for the faint of heart. People think, oh, okay, you can just throw up some posts and, do this, that, and the other. And they don't, in Delaware, it's a whole different thing. They don't want to pay, but, but it's you have to be strategic and consistent with it. So Promo Republic, I found to be the best tool for me for posting consistently across, multiples. So again, if I have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 clients with 2 or 3 pages each, I need that. I need to be able to jump and do that. So that's the best tool I have found for social media posting. Obviously, there's a lot of different apps out there. I'm team Android, so I don't go with the Apples and stuff. But I just love doing that. I love Canva. Who doesn't love Canva, right? Who doesn't love Canva? Creating everything from presentations to videos. That's where I do all my presentations now, and videos. And what else do I like? I used to use the National Calendar Day just to keep me up on what's happening. But the funny thing is, there's so many different events every day. It's like, I'm sick of that. I don't need to know it's hot dog day or hamburger day or whatever day. I just need to know what I'm doing. But those two are really, really worthwhile for me on social media management.
Well, and you're right. I started out the same way. I used to use Buffer.
Yep.
And then I was Hootsuite for years.
Yeah.
Until Hootsuite decided to take their $19 a month account and bump it up to a $70 a month account. And I'm like, what's going on here? And then I came across one by the name of, have you heard of Hello Wolfie?
I have. And I think I did I'm going to look at it again because my renewal is coming up this month. But tell me about it.
Hello Wolfie. And again, I love the product. I'm not endorsing it or not sponsored by them in any way, although I would love a sponsorship. So Arjun, please listen to this.
Please listen in.
That being said, I found it to be one of the most awesome tools. It had everything you wanted to do, easy content creation. The only thing, and I wish it had this one feature. Do you remember Page Moto? Do you ever hear of Page Moto?
I've heard of a Moto, but which Page Moto?
It was similar to all the posting tools out there. The only one that Hello Wolfie doesn't do that I love what Page Moto did is it would go out. So let's say you wanted to find out all the holidays. Mm-hmm. It would find out all the holidays for you, like that calendar you were mentioning.
Right.
And you could go and schedule post, happy hot dog day, happy hamburger day, happy this day.
Okay.
And it would let you auto schedule all those and show you all the events that were coming up. Or you get quotes from famous, like I could type in Bruce Lee.
Exactly. I do the quotes. Right.
Yeah. And it pulls up all the Bruce Lee quotes. And then I could schedule a Bruce Lee quote every day.
Oh, okay.
Or Stephen Hawking or whoever I wanted to put in there. And it had story generator too, where you could type in like electronic music and it would pull up all these electronic music stories and you could schedule those. It was a really good content aggregator kind of tool as well as a social media posting tool. But Hello Wolfie, built from the ground up, phenomenal tool. And right now, I mean, for the end user, it's $49 for a year. Yeah. It's normally in the price point of what we were looking at, what you were just looking at Promo Republic, but they have higher end plans.
Yeah, because I'm upwards to 900.
Yeah, but check it out, Hello Wolfie. It's phenomenal. Great support too.
Okay.
But yeah, I was going to ask you, do you recommend these tools to your clients?
Actually, because also on Promo, you can give your clients access to approve. I'll never do that. They will drive. They don't pay me enough for that. First and foremost, no. But I do recommend really Buffer to them because again, they're not at a level of, 30, 40 pages that they have to worry about. But I will tell them, but I've had clients on, was it Buffer? Yeah. And they will look, I don't like that. I'm like, no, stop it. Stop. You don't pay. I don't get paid for you to like it. Like, no, you can't be, you'll like it when I finish with it. Right. Put it on this time, and you've got to let them know that this is a numbers game. You got to take and look at your insights. What time are your people on? You can't just, and what drives me batty even so is Facebook ads. Let's boost this. I'm like, why are you just boosting? You're boosting for what? Just because you want to get 5 more people to see it. I can see if you were having a major event, you were doing a giveaway or having a big sale, then boost it. You want to get more people into your door, right? But just to boost a post.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed when Facebook, you create this group, you get tens of thousands of people in the group, and they say, oh, now you got to pay to reach the people that are in your group.
Yeah.
And it takes me back to that whole, go back to old school and go, if I would have taken all those people and had them sign up for a newsletter, I would have owned them.
Oh my gosh.
Own that
Emails
list.
are golden. I tell that if you can get email addresses, you can get in their email box, you got them.
Yeah, exactly. And, people are like, how did you get a list of 11,000 emails strong? It's like, because I ask for it. We hold our events, and our events, when we get a ticket.
Let me ask you about this. Are you still into business cards and QR codes? What's your thoughts?
Okay, here you go. And I thought you were going to save the questions for me on my show. When I'm going
to do that too.
It's okay.
It's on my show too.
I'll talk with you about it, because I started using QR codes in 2010, and people thought I was loony.
Uh-huh.
They're like, what are you talking about? I'll never do that.
I had one on my car. I created and put a magnetic one. I was selling Avon back then.
Well, yeah, and I own an advertising company outside of this. So I own an alternative advertising company that does out-of-home advertising, mobile billboards, guerrilla marketing, floating billboards, all that stuff. And the quickest thing was, I tell my clients, I'm like, look, you put your telephone number for old school. You put a website link on it for current medium. You want to really be in the future? Put a QR code on that and let people go, boop.
Yep.
And the beautiful thing about a QR code was, if you had it point to a web page, you could put whatever you want on that web page, or you could make specific QR codes to target different links and then track that link. Even if that was a homepage link, you could have a QR code homepage and see how many people were hitting that QR code homepage and separate the two for tracking purposes to know where your traffic's coming from on ads. If you took out 5 newspaper ads, put a different QR code in each one, so you know which newspaper
one
is coming in. And a friend of mine, he actually came up with, back in the day, a way to do what's called QR code recycle. So it would be a permalink, but then the links underneath you could recycle links underneath it, so it remained the same QR code.
That's interesting.
So that was really cool. But I loved it, and this is one of the things I did take away from the last couple of years. Loved it when I saw the world finally truly embrace QR codes.
I know. I like you, Darren. I remember, it was big and it was hot, and, people had them, and then all of a sudden they just faded away. And now, just like the hashtag, the QR code was on commercials, during TV. I mean, they're there. Bingo, they're there. I mean, wasn't that one QR code, the Super Bowl ad, like that the $1 million ad with the bouncing QR code?
I didn't see that one. I will go back to a long time ago Super Bowl. I'm talking 2000. I want to say it was 2012. I think it was an M&M commercial. The M&Ms were floating around on the screen. Then all of a sudden, at one point, they came up and they filmed a QR code. And only if you knew what to look for, you saw it. And you would have had to have been right there and ready for it.
Right.
But no, I wasn't. I knew about it. And I saw it. I go, that just made a QR code. And people are like, what's a QR code? I'm like, or the one I loved, and it had nothing to do with QR codes, but even getting into Alexa programming, and Hello Wolfie will help you do this, by the way. It'll help you when you create your stories, set them up. But when they did, I think it was the Burger King commercial, and they said, "Hey Alexa, what's in a Whopper?" And did yours go off? Yeah.
She didn't hear you though. She just beeped.
So all these Alexas went off describing what's in a Whopper. Millions of homes during the Super Bowl. It's crazy. And they had to build
awesome. Now
right?
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's great advertisement.
I still think that QR codes have a huge way to go. They're going to be out there. Most people don't know. It stands for quality recognition. And it was designed by Toyota in their factories so they could put more information than rather just a regular barcode. And if you look at a QR code generator of what it can generate, you can have it send a text message. You can have it send an actual message, just a message to somebody's phone, like, oh, here you go. You can have it go to a URL.
Right.
You can have it target for a Twitter link and make a tweet. All these different things you can do with QR codes. And I use them in every piece of marketing that I have now.
Good.
Every poster,
everything that's out there. I have been doing that. I've actually and I'm still old school because I still like business cards because I like leaving them in fish bowls at restaurants.
Yeah. That is one way of doing it. Now I know a lot of people that are using the new the cards that you tap.
Yes.
And I see that and I'm like, well, if I have my phone, can I just tap my phone? Right. Don't I have this to go?
Right.
Here you go. And I'm a contactor.
Oh, and remember they used to have the other way where you would have two phones together, and I guess that was post QR code or pre-code QR code?
I think you would tap the phones together or something like this.
And they would, because that was a big when it came to LinkedIn.
Yeah.
When you would go to conferences and you didn't want to really have time to talk to somebody. So let's connect. And it was like there was something, I forgot what that app was. Yeah, but that was an app.
I think it just uses an RF chip in the back that's programmed.
Right.
A friend of mine actually has an RF chip, and he works for Amazon and had one put in at a conference.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because it's another thing that I tell people. I'm like, having a podcast, going to a podcast, obviously we know podcast is a very powerful medium. It's a way to leave a legacy. And, right now, people walking around with this, but there's going to be a time that people are just going to walk around with the chip, and my grandkids and great grandkids and great great grandkids will be able to pull down my content and like, oh my gosh, Nana was so cool. Oh my gosh, she was, because it'll always be there. It will always be there. And that's the importance. That's why I said, podcasting is very powerful. Podcasting is a great way to leave your legacy. But remember, your brand is your bond. Your bond is your brand. And you want it to be right and tight. You don't want your grandkids to find out that you were, a stick 'em up or, robber or whatever. Like, you're related to Billy the Kid. That was big, but imagine what's going on now. You don't want to say, oh my gosh, look at what, Nana did, or look at what Nana, I mean, come on, Nana, was you like, are you on drugs or something? So yeah, that's interesting that you say the thing about the chip, but that's what I say. You're going to be able to just tap and go, and, ancestry.com be gone, right? Bye. Nobody needs it because I can pull down everything. I can pull Nana's blog or Nana's podcast.
And speaking about podcasts, you do a podcast yourself. Tell our audience a little bit about that podcast.
Sure. Thank you, Darren. And you're going to be on that podcast, which is Out and About with Antionette, which is every Wednesday at 1. And what it is just a great conversation with people doing some great things. Now, I don't do the video because I got to get dressed up, and I'm kind of dressed today because I had no idea. But yeah, so that's the Out and About. I started that years ago, just as a way to bring positivity, because we get a lot of negativity. We also turn on the TV or, our phones, and we get a lot of negativity. And in Delaware, it's the second smallest state, but it has a lot of talent here. So I was mainly like kind of focusing on Delaware folks, but actually it's international. I've talked to people in Germany and talked to people in Quebec and talked to people all over the world. So that's just kind of, Out and About with Antionette. And it's just a platform, a way for you to get yourself out there like this. And like, you're going to be on my show. And then on Saturdays at 1, it's the Delaware Blogger Podcast, right? I'm the Delaware Blogger. And since I teach podcasting, since I coach people to start a podcast, since I have a podcasting studio, it only made sense to have a podcast with podcasting pointers, right? So every Saturday, 10, 15 minutes is a topic, how to record, make your sound better, or, just something, little tips and hints just to keep yourself out there, as an accompaniment to what I do, in my coaching.
I remember early 2020, there was a young woman lives in California, and somehow we connected, and she wanted to be a podcaster. Somehow I got invited to be on her show. I was one of her like 5th guests, and I'm like, she'd done her whole research on me. She's like, I can't believe you're coming on my show. And I'm like, of course, you're a podcaster. I'm down to help out the community, but I've seen her now grow where she's doing multiple podcasts. The lighting has gotten better. The audio has gotten better. The attire has gotten better. The backdrop has gotten better. And it always reminds me of, I never watched Joe Rogan's podcast, but I've seen some of his earlier stuff, and it was not always professionally produced.
No,
but
right.
The ones that ring in my head or remind me the most is Gary Vaynerchuk.
Okay.
And I was just talking about him the other day there was this video he was in, and he's talking at his table or sitting at his desk where he does his stuff. And he's talking about just getting started, going out and doing something, being adventurous. And it starts over here in the picture in picture. It starts going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It starts counting with numbers, and it's talking about all the shows that he's done. It's going through every show, and it's going kind of really fast as he's talking to the camera. And you see this progression of them just getting better and better and better and better and well more produced and well more. And it's very inspiring to me because, we're at almost 2,400 episodes.
Wow. Congratulations.
Over 12 years. Thank you. And I know you just hit your 300th episode, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's just, I've looked back in the day when I first started doing stuff in my living room and then moved it to my bedroom and then got the studio space and then the mobile studio and then the bigger studio and then the on-site studio. And, you kind of go through all these different things and it just, you keep doing it. And I tell people, sometimes just keep doing it and keep doing it and listen to other people. And I've been asked a lot of times, what budget should I go spend to start up this? How much money should I put in this? And I tell them, how much money you got right now?
That's right.
Because guess what? You probably have a phone.
Yep.
You got a laptop and a computer.
Yep. That's it.
The research is going to be, your content is going to be more important than your camera, your lighting, or anything. Yep. And if you don't have camera or lighting or anything, start out with it being audio and go spend $50 on a microphone. Don't spend $5,000 on a microphone. I mean, this microphone, we're Mac sponsor, Mac. It's $300 nice microphone.
Look, this was my first one. I spent like crazy bank, and right now it's a paperweight now.
Right? I mean, but I tell people usually get a lavalier mic. Just get a nice, decent lavalier mic, so that way your hands free. You aren't going like this and back and forth, and it's with you no matter where you're going around. And start there and learn some basic, learn how to trim your audio, and you don't need the jingle just yet, but know your content.
What I have in my book. Do you know that I'm the author of Podcasting Your Purpose Resource Guide, edition 1 and 2? And that's what we talk about. Yeah. Just the recording hardware, software, just how to start out. And that is what you're talking about.
Yeah, because so many people in the beginning of 2020 were reaching out to me. And the biggest one was copyright. People, how do you use your music? How did you get around this, Darren? I go,
yeah,
we pay for our licensing. You don't. It's called copyright law. Well, how do you? Can I just no? You go pay for this stuff. But a lot of people asking what cameras to use, what mics to use, and all that fun stuff. I'm like, just start out by doing something and find out if you really like it or not.
That's the most important thing. Yes,
and the one thing is too is find a topic that you're passionate about. Don't jump on the trend and say, oh, everyone's doing crime podcasts, so I'm going to do a crime podcast too. Find something you're really passionate about. Do that and become the best at that, and then try to find that audience. Do you know Steve Olsher?
Oh, yes, I follow Steve. Yes.
Yes. So yeah, Podcast Magazine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get my emails all the time. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No offense, Steve.
And you know what? This inspiration for my podcast talking points.
Yeah.
Because again, you can read. I mean, I've gone through episodes of each chapter for the book, each chapter, but there's always something different. And again, it's what you're passionate about. I'm passionate about teaching. I've always loved to teach. I love podcasting. I love coaching. So it only makes sense to have a show that I'm passionate about, and it's easy. Boom. I can knock out a show, 15, 20 minutes, edit it the next day, do the cover art, and I'm done. So yeah, it's great. And then now interviewing, I love it. I started out as an interviewer in 2017, and I kind of got burnt out, right? And I stopped. And then after about a year or so, I was like, ooh, I kind of missed that because I'm sick of talking to myself. I'm sick of talking to myself and sick of hearing myself. And I'm like, this is a free platform for people. Why wouldn't I do that? Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't I do that? Now, like I said, my schedule is filling up and I'm just loving it because, now, right, Darren, when you say you're a podcaster, don't people's eyes go, wow. It's like, really, dude, it's not that. But if you ask somebody to be on your podcast, they're like, oh my God. It's like asking to be on NBC, ABC, or Fox or something, right?
Yeah. I again, coming from having 30 years in the industry, I started out in public access television, but I started out much younger than that. And we'll save that for your interview with me.
Yes.
But interviews were a core of what we did on the public access television show. Interviews were a core of what I did when I went into broadcast television, and interviews were a core of what I did when I first started podcasting, and interviews remained a core when I went into live streaming. There was a point where I moved away from interviews and just focused on the music. And this whole transition now where we're coming back, we're going through a huge transition phase to internationally rebrand ourselves and everything, but we're now getting back to the core of the interview again and talking to the people. And I think because everyone's ready to do Zoom interviews, back in the day, people weren't ready to do Zoom interviews. They didn't have an app downloaded. They didn't have the background ready to go. They didn't know green screening or audio setup, and it just wouldn't come across as it does now. And I mean, I have more interviews scheduled on the book over the next month than I do have content that we would normally provide doing music.
Right.
I mean, we're looking at I have like 48 interviews scheduled with 20 guest mixes. I mean, that's like 68 hours of content coming in. And normally, we're producing about 30 hours of content, of music content. We're not changing our format, everyone. We're just doing a new rebrand and a new push to get this division of the interview side of the company coming back up. Because a lot of time we would only get interviews backstage on site. Yeah. And you get 7 to 10 minutes with people. You can't get it in. Hey, how's it going tonight? Great. How's it going to be here? Hey, what's up with the new album? Okay, great. Thank you very much. See you later. And that was so-and-so on the DJ sessions. And I'd have to wait from 9 o'clock on site till midnight till they show up to get 10 minutes worth of time. And that was it. Now I can say, hey, anyone around the world, schedule with me. I got Europe. I got Japan. I got Bangkok. I got Australia. I got Mexico. I got all over the world. They just schedule a time now and they can come in and talk, and we can spend an hour chatting, getting in-depth questions. I get to get anywhere from 12 to 20 questions in, and really. And
look at us. We're going along. I mean, really, we need to chop this up.
No, I 1 hour. So we're just.
No, I'm good. No, I'm teasing you. It's like, I love talking. So I'm fine.
No, it's all good. Let's see. We've talked about this. We talked about that. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else you want to let our DJ Sessions fans know about before we let you get going?
Well, first, I'm so glad that you reached out to me. When Daryl, who runs Elite Conversation, podcast media, and Daryl and I have been together like forever. He and I met in Maryland, and we used to get together and, do podcasting seminars and courses, and he's just knocking it out the park. But I just want to first and foremost say thank you for reaching out. I was like, what? He said, what? Oh, how's he know me? Like, okay, cool. So, no, thank you for allowing me to be on your platform. And again, for anyone that's out there that's thinking about, podcasting or blogging or vlogging or anything in social media, I'm going to say this once and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it 3 more times. Your brand is your bond. Your bond is your brand, and it has to be right and tight. It's you. It does not, Darren, it's not Antionette. It's not anybody else. It is you. How do you want to be remembered? And you may say, and you may not even think about it, but that's what gives me, because I'm at that age, I figure I got maybe about 30 more years. So I want to make sure that those 30 years, it's that dash in between. I was born in 61. I don't know when I'm going to leave. But when you think of the Delaware Blogger, when you remember the Delaware Blogger, you want to say, she did this, she did that, and it's positive. And also when I lay head to pillow, I want to have a clean conscience. So when you're on social media, think before you tweet, stop before you snap, and pause before you post. And if it's what you want to be presented as, then go for it. If not, just whip, because that's why phones just swipe up now.
Do you have merch for sale by any chance? Because that needs to be put on a t-shirt.
Well, listen, you're the marketing guru. You know how to do this, right?
We could talk offline. We'll set up another appointment after that. Yes. But thank you so much for coming on the DJ Sessions. This is such valuable information. And, viewers, if you're out there thinking of doing a podcast, DJs, if you're thinking out there doing your own show, definitely hit Antionette up. I think there's definitely going to be a huge wealth of information and resources there that she can provide for you to make your shows better. Antionette, thank you so much for coming on the DJ Sessions.
I appreciate you. And if you want to connect with me, my Linktree ID, A Blake Enterprises, all my social, my books, my coaching, my website, everything's there. Linktree ID, A Blake Enterprises.
A Blake Enterprises. Thank you so much, Antionette. On that note, don't forget to go to our website, thedjsessions.com. Find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, that meta thing that used to be called Face Something. We're the DJ Sessions coming to you from the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington. I'm Darren, and all the way in from Delaware, it's Antionette for the DJ Sessions presents the virtual sessions. And remember, on the DJ Sessions, the music never stops.